and we are only 20 miles away from the heart of Glasgow. And for the latter half of the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, shipbuilding was the main industry on the River Clyde, where the ship is actually docked just now, and it became world famous, particularly for steamships. That industry went into decline in the mid-1920s, the mid-1960s and 70s, and I'm glad to say you people have actually stepped in, and tourism is now taking over in a big way. So as I say, the ship is actually moored on the River Clyde, and the River Clyde is the second longest river in Scotland and the 7th longest river in the United Kingdom. It became world famous, as I say, in the latter half of the 19th and the first half of the 20th century for shipbuilding, in particular steamships. At one time, something like 60% of all the steamships sailing in the world had actually been built on the River Clyde. And engineering was synonymous with the top range. In its heyday, we had something like 62 shipyards from here all the way down into the heart of Glasgow on both sides of the river. Sadly today we are down to just 2 out of the 60. So on your right hand side is the heart of Glasgow, city centre. All the new buildings, the glass and the steel, are either hotels, businesses, or more and more now is student accommodation. We have 3 major universities in Glasgow. We have the third oldest university in the English-speaking world is Glasgow University. It dates way back to 1451, and we have about 40,000 students in Glasgow University. We have Strathclyde University and Caledonian University in the city centre on the right hand side, and between them we have another 20,000 odd as well. So we have a very, very large student population, and 3/4 of that student population are foreign students. We're very fortunate in Scotland that if you are born in Scotland of Scottish parents, you do not need to pay for your university education. That comes free. If you are English or Welsh and you come up to study in Scotland, then you have to pay for your education. It's just to give you a kind of heads up on it. It takes roughly about 50 minutes to an hour to do the return journey. So you'll see the canal on the right hand side here, and because there are locks on the canal, you'll know that that is the Forth and Clyde Canal. That's the one that comes from Glasgow. And You can actually, it's the only canal that sails right across the country from east to west or west to east. Most of the other canals either run north or south. This is the only one. Two sides broke apart, reformed the next day, and the battle continued for the whole of the next day. At the end of the day, the English had lost more than twice as many as what the Scots had lost, and as a result we actually gained our independence. As I say, we kept it for 400 years, right up to 1707, when it was sold by the Lords in Scotland, sold to England, and for the next 300 years we were ruled from Westminster right up till 1999, when we managed to get our own parliament back again, and that parliament is now in Edinburgh, and it's been there since 2022. So it's been there for 22 years alone. The Parliament building's been there for 22 years. The actual Parliament is 24 years, it'll be 25 next year. You'll notice most of the houses here are the grey sandstone. These villas on the right hand side here. They'll be at least 125-year-old, probably near 150-year-old, built in the reign of Queen Victoria. And they'll cost approximately about $350,000. So this is us in the heart of Stirling itself, and shortly we should be coming in sight of the actual castle. So we're in the centre of Stirling. Right ahead of us, through these traffic lights, is the pedestrianised precinct. Jamie's going to turn left here. The one on this side is Rob Roy McGregor, and the one on the right hand side is Rabbie Burns. So if you see these two statues, you know you're in the right area. The bus will just be below. We have the library on the right hand side here, and the town hall on the left hand side, and that's the statue of William Wallace in the town centre. We'll go up, you come walking back down this road, okay? The good thing is it's downhill all the way. You've got the easy journey up. As you can see, these roads were not designed for coaches. People at the front, you can see through the front window. The big church that you have up there is the Church of the Holy Rood, and that's the only church in Scotland where a king was actually crowned king. And that king was Mary Queen of Scots' son, who became James VI of Scotland and James I of England. He was the first king that ruled over both England and Scotland as one nation. So you can either come back down this road that we walked up, or you can go down the road over there on the right hand side. The two roads actually lead back into the town centre. If you look over, you see a large tower on the right hand side. That's the Wallace monument over there. And right in front of you is the castle. The yellowy coloured building is the Great Hall, built by James VI. Originally that whole building was covered in gold leaf to make an impression upon any of the dignitaries that came to visit. For his children, he could stand up on the ramparts up there and see his children playing in the field down here, and he knew that they were safe. You look up at the building, extreme right hand side is the palace. The one with all the windows in it is the Army Regiment Museum for the Argyll and Southern Highlanders. So on a clear day, a lot clearer than today, from the castle you can see 20 or 30 miles in every direction. And at the bottom of the crane you'll see a building down there, and that is Newark Castle, and that castle is to the south side of the Clyde as to what Dumbarton Rock is to the north side. That castle's been there for about 400 years, and it belonged to one family called Maxwell right up until the beginning of the 20th century. They could no longer afford the upkeep of it, and they handed it over to the National Trust. They've actually spent millions on it, and they've turned it into a beautiful, absolutely beautiful castle inside. And again, this one can be hired out for weddings or receptions or birthdays and what have you. Maxwell himself was a bit of a rogue. The first Maxwell who actually built it, he was a knight, and he actually murdered 2 of his staff and got away with it because he was a knight. Now you should see one of the ferries, the new ferries that the shipyard there has built, again on the right hand side. It's just been commissioned this week, and it's just sailed down this morning, funnily enough, to finish its manoeuvres. If you look on the left hand side here, just at the traffic lights, you'll see what looks like the bows of a ship, this black and white monument, and each one of these spars represents a shipyard somewhere on the Clyde.